Are you working? What kind of work do you do? Guys, bringing you another video, and today it will be more of a workout video again like last week's, and today I will explain why I work out a lot as a racing driver. A lot of you guys might actually have seen my Instagram that I work out a lot. I'll pretty much work out every single day, usually twice a day, and people always ask me,
"Hey Raka, why do you work out a lot?"
because I'm a racing driver.
I thought all you do is just sit and drive.
Well, today I'll be explaining why I don't just do sit and drive, because it is tiring as So I'll be going through the fitness aspects of being a racing driver and give you guys like an introduction of why it's actually tough and the trainings that I actually do to overcome it. So first of all is the cardiovascular section. A lot of times I race in conditions which are really hot, as in the track temperature is more than 50 degrees and the air temperature is around 38 to 40 degrees like in Malaysia. And because of that heat, I need to be really good at my cardiovascular capacity in order for me to be able to drive for a long time. I've actually done a bit of research on my own in regards to my heart rate during driving a kart, and it's pretty high. It's about 170 beats per minute on average, and it can go as up to 190, which means even though that I'm just sitting down, my heart and my body is working a lot, and that's why I need to be good in my cardiovascular. And with the duration of my races, it usually lasts around 20 to 25 minutes, usually even more when it's a bit wet or when the track is long. Thus, I need to have a good cardiovascular endurance in order to be able to race. To train my cardiovascular endurance, I do a lot of cycling, as you guys might have seen my Instagram, and I do a lot of running as well. And other than that, I like to do high intensity interval training workouts. For running and cycling, I usually do long distance. For running, around 8 to 10 kilometers usually, and for cycling, around 40 to 100 kilometers. I also do a lot of high intensity interval trainings on the bike as well, and running as well. For example, when I run, I like to do hill sprints. That's like 400 meter run and 200 meter rest, and I do that for about 10 times. And that goes the same as well. In cycling, I use Zwift as a method to be able to do my high intensity interval trainings on my bicycle. With the HIIT workouts, a lot of you guys might have seen my previous video that I like to do ropes, I like to do jumping jacks, burpees, and it's pretty much similar in a way to CrossFit, and that's the target that I try to achieve. I try to work at a really high BPM in order to train my cardiovascular endurance and pretty much my overall fitness. Alright, so here comes to the part where it goes a bit more interesting, which is my muscle. A lot of you guys might not know that I actually use everything, all of my muscle groups, starting from my neck to the bottom to my lower body, and I'll give you guys a bit of a run through. So first things first is the neck. My helmet is about 1.5 to 2 kilos, and it is pretty much a heavy toll for my neck muscles. And of course, in racing, I have to go against very high G-forces, which can go up to 2 to 3 G-forces, and pretty much I have the weight of 3 times my helmet as well as my head being put into pressure on my neck. So to be able to train my neck, I do a lot of very typical racing driver neck exercises, which is to put a weight on my neck, and I do a lot of endurance trainings for this one because it's all about having the endurance to be able to withstand the G-forces for a long time. I usually put around 10 to 15 kilos of weight on my neck, and I train for 2 minutes of 3 repetitions. Going down to the torso, we have first of all the forearms. Forearms is actually very underrated because most people don't think that we need to train our forearms a lot. But think about it this way. We have about a weight of 100 kilos being put on our forearms for 20 minutes. because as we turn in the cart, we're actually putting force to the whole cart and bringing the cart up. And that means you have to have a lot of strength on your forearms as well as endurance, because you have to last for more than 20 minutes. And of course, coming with the forearm is the shoulders. Just like forearms, you have around 100 kilos of weight pretty much put into the shoulders for 20 minutes, and that's why you have to have a good strength and also endurance to be able to drive. I usually train my forearms in a non-direct way, as in I do a lot of other workouts that are not focusing on the forearms, but it still trains the forearms. For example, I do a lot of deadlifts as well as rows, and it really helps to build your forearms, and it's also a really good workout to train your upper body. With shoulders, I do a lot of shoulder presses. It's one of my favorite workouts in the gym. I do both bar and dumbbell presses, which is pretty good to switch around because sometimes you need to train more range of motion with the dumbbells, and it's always good to switch around as well because you can get injured if you do a lot of barbell workouts. In overall, one of my favorite upper body workouts is pull-up.
Pull up in the gold, I'm leading.
Because it trains your whole upper body as well as your abs, your back, and your shoulders as well as forearms. And the back muscles are pretty important as well, because when I drive, I don't have a seat belt, so I kind of move around in the seat, and it's always good to have a build-up back muscle because it'll help you to endure your back being hit from side to side for 20 minutes straight. Yes, we do have a rib protector, but it's always really good to have back muscles because it really helps for stability as well. And that gives me to the next section of this explanation, which is my core muscles. Core muscles are really important because it really helps me to balance in the cart. I do lean a lot in the cart to provide the best center of gravity, and also I have to endure and withstand the G-forces. It's always really good to have really strong core muscles, and it's probably one of the most important muscle groups as a racing driver. I do a lot of stability workouts on the Petsy ball. I also do circuit trainings to develop my core muscles. So what I try to do is to simulate driving a cart whilst training my core muscles. My lower body is also pretty important, starting from my lower back. I feel like having a good lower back really helps me as a racing driver because sometimes I get back pains. This is because you're pretty much balancing your whole body and it's all pivoting on your lower back. And to withstand this is that I do deadlifts, really heavy weights on deadlifts to be able to develop my strength on my lower back. Moving to the last part of the muscle group is my legs. My legs are really important, of course, because I have to brake and throttle, and I have to put a lot of brake pressure, and that requires a lot of strength and a lot of force. One of my favorites are squats. Squats really help me to be able to develop my quadriceps as well as my hamstring, and that's one of the most important muscles for braking, and pretty much your whole gluteals as well is also being developed, and that as well really helps me to be able to become a good racing driver. So pretty much to sum it up, I train full body, literally every single muscle group. And of course, I don't just train strength, I train my endurance, I train my cardio as well as my muscular endurance. So it's pretty much training both sides. For me, it's really hard to be able to know which workouts are the best for you as a racing driver, because there's no certain way to do things. As long as you reach your goal and your desired outcomes, then you're pretty much doing the right thing. A lot of other racing drivers do more cardio and more high intensity interval trainings and not really do a lot of strength trainings. But for me, I feel like strength training also works because it really helps me to lose a lot of weight, and I don't just rely on my cardio to lose a lot of weight. And speaking of weight, I have to be really light as well. So it's not just having the biggest strength and the biggest muscle, but it's also being light as well. So it's a balance of everything. It's all about creating a very fit physique, and being fit really helps me to become a racing driver, because I've always believed that the more fit I am, then the faster I go. And that's the mindset that I've been having pretty much for like 5 years of racing. And since I had that mindset, it's allowed me to become Asian champion in 2017 and have scored a lot of podiums. And pretty much fitness is the first thing that comes in my mind, because I work out at 8 o'clock as the gym opens, and I work out before I sleep as well. And that just sums up like a brief description of what I actually do. I'll probably post more about the sets and repetitions and more into detail. This is a bit more into detail than the last video, but this is just another introductory video to what's going to come in the future. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.